Thank you, Devin. And too much of a good thing can at times be a problem. And here to talk to us this morning about addiction in many forms is Nurse Christina Paris. Thanks for joining me this morning.
Glad to be here. Thanks.
Always a pleasure to see you bright and early in the morning. And so let's dive right into it because you have some interesting addictions to talk about. So what is addiction and what are some common types?
Yeah, so addiction basically involves memory, reward, motivation. So reward, motivation, memory.
Right.
It goes in that. And it also involves dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter, along with some other transmitters. And while dopamine isn't what causes you to crave it, it definitely reinforces your brain to want to do that over and over again. The problem is, so when we do something, whether it's just hanging out with our friends, shopping, or drinking a bottle of wine or using cocaine, they all, will release these chemicals that give us this reward or pleasure.
Right.
But what can happen is over time, if you continue to seek that or your body starts to crave that, that's when it becomes a problem. So, and then the body continues to produce dopamine to a point when then it starts to back off because it thinks, oh, there's plenty of dopamine. So that's where we get tolerance. So people, for example, who are on chronic opioids will eventually, it doesn't even affect them anymore. And they'll say, they need higher doses and higher doses. And so that's what can happen to us. So same with any addiction, we're gonna need more and more. And you're right, we talked about addiction in this sense, there's many. It's not just substance abuse. We often think about the alcohol and drugs, but it can come in many forms. There's, of course, gambling, medications, just taking normal medications. Working can actually be an addiction. Of course, sex, shopping, food, sugar. That's one of my big downfalls is my sugar. And it really causes you to crave. There's a whole detox on sugar. Video games, internet, exercise, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Not me, maybe Conrad,
Conrad, yes. He's out there watching from Oklahoma. I think he can agree.
Yes. And then even television can be an addiction too.
There are many types. So what are some signs of addiction and possible treatments for when we realize that we may be working through it?
Yeah, so, people are gonna want to do that activity over and over again. They're not gonna have the control or inability to stop on their own. They might have even withdraw, so they're not engaging anymore. They're decreasing their socialization or isolating. They ignore the risk factors, like if you are into drugs, it might be sharing needles, alcohol, you might get behind the wheel of a car and drive. And then the physical effects, like we talked about needing higher doses.
Right.
And the one I thought was interesting is dismissing the behavior. We see that a lot. Oh, I can stop anytime, or I'm not addicted to that.
Right, I think we can all imagine that pretty well.
But you do see that lack of control. And so those are some of the big ones that you kind of would watch for. And then there's medication management that can help. There's also counseling, and then managing things like heart disease and whatever, the causes that come from it. And of course, psychotherapy. Then there's medical services, and there's even inpatient or outpatient treatments for drug and alcohol, sometimes for gambling, sometimes for sex addiction, some other ones like that. And then there's a lot of self-help, like Alcoholics Anonymous or Gambling Anonymous. So there's a lot of groups, Facebook, social media. We see a lot of groups that can help with a lot of these disorders.
And speaking of social media and perhaps technology in general, what can parents do to prevent screen time or digital addictions?
Yeah, and
that's a new one.
We're seeing that more and more. When you look at how much time people are spending on their screens, it's
Do you
incredible.
see those weekly breakdowns of how much screen time you've been having on your phone? Does your phone send you that?
No, it doesn't.
It sends me
can look it up, and it is amazing. You know, when I look at my kids versus me, I'm happy to say I don't have a screen addiction.
There you go.
I can, you know, put my phone down and go for a walk without it, and I'm okay. But some really can't. So one of the big things that we want to do. So as parents, you want to lead by example. So you know, go for a walk without bringing your phone. You don't always have to have your gadget on you. So show the kids that it can be okay. And I like that the schools in some states are now banning it, and kids are having to interact with each other, like face-to-face talk and not just text. And then be strict with your rules, you know, make sure that you set boundaries and guidelines, have daily limits, you know, on your screen time. Involve the kids in other activities. Gosh, get out, you know, go for a walk in the woods, build a fort. You know, we have all these woods around us. There's so many cool things you can do. Limit the amount of gadgets you have in your house. Maybe don't keep buying all these extra iPads and stuff. Spend more time with your kids. Avoid using those as a crutch. And I know it's so easy, you know, you go out to dinner or something with the toddler, it's easy to just go, here, just watch this, you know, stay at the table. Have a gadget-free area or time of day. Make a certain area of your home, like we're not gonna use the computers or anything in this time, or like at the dinner table.
Right.
Just coming back to eating dinners at the table is, you know, kind of a novel concept, because I don't think we do that anymore. You know, monitor the consumption, and of course, praise your kids when they are, you know, when you are at the table. Make mention like, wow, this is really great that I've been able to sit and chat with you and not have to be looking on our phones and ignoring each other.
Well, thank you this morning for having the chat with me. Appreciate it, right? Face to face, face to screen.
That's
it's
right.
you know, we'll give a little pass this morning for that. But thank you again for coming on and talking about these important addictions.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to be right back with your What's Trending after this commercial break.